Hey there, and welcome to Business Over Cocktails. I'm Najar, your host and hype woman, bringing you real talk about entrepreneurship. This is the podcast where we dive into the bold whys, the messy middles, and the game-changing aha moments that lead to success. You'll hear unfiltered stories from entrepreneurs, plus bite-sized solo episodes inside the Business Chaser series, where we cut through the noise and get straight to what actually drives sales, visibility, and growth. So whether you're here to get fired up or finally feel seen in your business journey, pull up a seat, pour your favorite drink, and let's have a real conversation. Hello. Welcome back to Business Over Cocktails. I'm Najar. And if this is the first time that you are listening to this podcast, welcome. This type of episode that is released on Mondays, those are all going to be about stories and things that I share about my business journey. And then I usually have some guests on here as well. So today we are going to talk about bad investments when it comes to building your business and maybe like delayed ROI and some of the good lessons that you can learn from investing into various things in growing your business. So I want to start by saying, it is very important that you invest into things to build your business, right? Sometimes that looks like contractors or assistants. Sometimes that looks like mentorship or strategy. Sometimes that looks like certifications or courses. Sometimes it looks like just support people, social media management help, a coach, some people to create content for you, a bookkeeper. There are a lot of things, a lot of costs to building a business, especially if, of course, you have a location or a physical location that you go to. My startup costs were minimal, right? I already had a laptop, didn't need to buy a laptop to start a business, already had one. I work out of my home, so I'm not paying any rent to another place. I don't have any materials that I necessarily need to send to people. So therefore, my startup costs are very low. And the biggest expenses that I had up front were to invest in coaching. And I'm going to kind of take you through my journey with the investments that I've made. And I'm not going to obviously share the names of people here. I will just mention like what it was and what I learned from it. But I think I want to dispel a few things. And I think that I will also start out by saying that I do think that there are people out there who are deceptive. I have never fell victim to that, so I don't know that experience. But I think that it is very common in the coaching industry to fall victim to deceptive marketing practices. And I think that also can be a very slippery slope. I think that when you are making an investment, regardless if it's $500 or $10,000, I think that you have to have some level of discernment when you are consuming someone else's marketing. So often I see people get into these situations where they have invested into coaching and it's because the person, not even as the point to like a guarantee, but the person will say, I can help you make X amount of dollars this year. I help my clients make this much money. And when they use marketing like that, of course, we think that that sounds amazing. And of course, we want that too. We want all of that money. But I think that I've always come from a position where that is not enough. It's, well, how do you help me? And if I don't get that answer, I'm not going to work with that person. If they're specifically just going to sell to me based on the merit of that they help all of their clients seemingly, which that's not true. But if they help all of their clients achieve $10,000 months or $100,000 a year or anything like that, that seems very surface level to me. And so I've been on a handful of sales calls where, they really couldn't tell me what it is that they do or how they help people which I guess too is also a tactic, right? They want to leave something to the imagination. They want to sell you based on the results that they're getting to other people, which I get. And maybe that is also a perspective I have of being also someone who's very good at selling. And I sell in a different way. I think that also a lot of times people feel guilty for saying no, especially on a call when someone is trying to convince them. And I understand that sometimes it does feel forceful and you just want to say yes to get off of the call, which is not good business practice, of course. So I just want to say that when it comes to investing into coaching, I am aware of sometimes people getting into situations where they have invested in like the person just like ghosts them or doesn't show up or doesn't like truly deliver, doesn't like try to make it right. Like there's so many things that I know that can happen. However, I think that I also want people to have that discernment of even if it goes bad, can I afford that, right? Because there is no guarantee that when you make investments, you're going to get that money back. There is no guarantee. You can't, even if the person is guaranteeing it, there is no guarantee. So if someone's guaranteeing you they're going to make $5,000, like, okay, cool. Are you going to run my business for me, my whole entire business? Probably not. What they're probably going to do is give you a whole strategy that works for them, and they're going to make it work for you somehow, one way or another, and it's just simply not the truth, and that's not how it works. For a very long time, I tried to like fit in with those coaches too of like, I need to find my strategy and then I'm going to tell people what to do. And that just goes against the grain of who I am. So whenever I coach someone, even though I have like a specific framework that I take people through, I really want people to have a personalized strategy. And if you want to do calls and sales calls and things like that, great. If you don't, you don't have to. But I'm well versed in many different ways of growing your business. And so that's why mine will be always like personalized to that person. But anyways, so going back to like investments though, is if you are investing in someone to like say like, okay, if I invest this money, I know I'm going to get by the end of 3 months or 6 months or something, I know I'm going to get this money back like tenfold because they're guaranteeing it or they help so many other people do it. So what are the chances that I'm going to also do this? It's very slim to none. Like, so when you are investing into something, make sure that you can take that financial hit because no matter what, it is still sort of a financial hit, right? It's still to the point of you don't have this money now, or you're giving up a large chunk of your savings that you do want to make back. So even if this relationship goes sour, can you afford that financial hit? And not like you're not putting all of your eggs in the basket of, I need this coach or person to give me the answers to the test when I don't even know what questions to ask, or I don't even know what the choices are. So that's kind of where I want to start with this. And I think that I've definitely made one of those investments before. So I made an investment about 6 months into my business, and I will never say like it's because it was a deceptive practice because I don't think it was. It was just me putting a lot of faith into someone who did have a lot of successful clients and had a lot of success herself. And I saw kind of like her rise into her coaching business. And she still is a coach and has a very successful program. It isn't even being the coach anymore, right? She has like a high ticket group program and has like co-coaches and things like that. So as far as I know, like I actually don't really stay in touch with her anymore either, but she's still like, from what I can tell, like still doing the same things, like still successful. If I go and look her up, I'm sure she'll be successful. But at the time, she had just started a couple months before me and like had this like meteoric rise into making money, right? Seemingly, right? Because that was all marketing and I don't see her bank statements or anything. I see screenshots. This was 7 years ago, so less prevalent of like screenshots, things like that. I followed her from day one of my business, but I had been working with another coach. I worked with her twice, and she at that point was like, we can keep working together. And I was like, yeah, but like, I don't think I'm going to continue to work with you because like I was wanting to do like more stuff that it's not that she wasn't willing to, it's just like she didn't think I needed. So then I decided to hire this other coach that I thought would help me scale. And so immediately, she had this whole checklist for me. And I was like so excited because all of these things were like tangible actions, all of this stuff. And I knew I'm like, oh, if I hit all of these benchmarks, like I'm going to sign clients. Cool. Well, fast forward, right? That all happened. I'm sorry, I didn't sign clients, but I followed the checklist to a T and I worked my butt off. I remember being very stressed out. And I was working during my lunch periods at my job. I was working in the morning. I was working at night. And my husband was traveling at the time too. So I had a lot more time to like work and didn't have children yet. So I was like working nonstop, making sure I was posting like 20 times a day, sending a bunch of messages. I had my sales page ready. She wanted me to launch a group program because I thought I was like sold out with my 4 one-on-one clients, which I guess was a lot at the time because I still had a full-time job. But she was like, okay, like we're going to sell this group program. And then she told me exactly what to do at every step of the way. And I did it. And I made 0 sales from this program. No one was interested. No one was even remotely interested or like booked a sales call with me. The program I think I was selling was like $700. So not even that much. And this investment I had made into this coach, I want to say I paid $4,000 and it was I think I worked with her for, I forget how much time that was. I want to say it was probably 3 months, but because I didn't have any sales, she actually let me continue with her for a little bit because I was showing up and I was doing everything. But she was like, yeah, I don't understand like why you're not making sales. So she continued to coach me. And then by the end of our coaching contract and like then the extension, like I was just so burnt out. And I actually then burnt out from my business. I just like, what am I even doing? Like I had signed 4 one-on-one clients by doing something that was so simple. And because I had so much early success, I was like, cool, I'm ready for more. I'm ready for like email marketing and tripwires and ads and all of this stuff. And I was not even 6 months into my business. And what was working, but then I decided that I needed to like change my whole entire strategy to scale, and I changed coaches and everything. And then I really crashed and burned. And that was 2019. I remember it was like May 2019. I'm just like, I'm done. Like I need to take a step back. And so I did that. And so I actually was really distracted that summer because I ran the Chicago Marathon. And so like, if you've never trained for a marathon before, just know it's like a full-time job. You know, I was running close to 20 hours a week and I had my full-time job and it was summertime. And so all I focused on was like, I still posted all the time, but all I was focused on was like, I had this like really low ticket, $25 a month membership that I ran with somebody else. And we had like 7 people in it. So like I was making maybe $50 a month in my business. And when I started to come out of that and like I got a new job, I wasn't commuting anymore. I had a more consistent schedule. I started to get back into like after the marathon, I started to get back into like my business more. I'm like, okay, like I listened to like a couple audiobooks and I'm like, I want to give this like another try and I'm going to do this. Like I'm going to do it my own way. And so I really took the time, like after working with that coach, I didn't work with anyone else. And I felt that I really found myself in like the direction I really wanted to head. And like I really wanted to put my blinders on and just do what I knew best and get back to what was working before. And funny enough, that first coach came back and was putting together a mastermind. And I was really scared to join it because I did not want to lose myself again, because I felt like I lost myself. And again, I don't want to say like anything bad about that one coach I invested in, because it was just a mismatch of like, maybe she thought I was further along. And also too, she wasn't even a year into business. So like, she just felt like what worked for her is going to work for everyone else. Like, and I can't, I'm just like kind of assuming, right? I'm just kind of like thinking in terms of like what happened. She's still a lovely person. And I think like she does great things. I haven't heard anything bad, but that would just be an investment that I never made any money back on. Like, I think I learned a lot. I learned how to do ads for the first time. I kind of learned the art of launching through her, which I hate and I don't do anymore. So I feel like that was helpful. But now, being 7 years away from that investment, I don't know what I learned from that. I'm sure I learned something. I'm sure I learned posting and like I said, launching, things like that, but I don't think I ever got a full ROI from that investment. I've obviously since made my money back in other ways, but I don't think that I learned anything new that I didn't know before. But anyway, so fast forward to 2020, I joined a mastermind after a lot of talking and being convinced from my coach who really knew me and really could see things that I didn't see in myself. And working with her then really, I think, solidified being in that mastermind has been life-changing for me even now. The people that were in that mastermind, I'm still connected to most of them, and we have really good relationships. We work with each other in certain ways. One of them also has turned into my mentor as well. And it's just paid off in so many dividends too. And that mastermind was $7,000 that I paid. I still hold that coach in very high regard. She's done so much for me. I haven't worked with her since then. She's kind of went on her own journey to not be a business coach necessarily anymore. She's doing some other things. But I guess like the biggest lesson here with like that type of an investment is I was putting so much pressure on that coach specifically to give me all of the answers. And what I've now learned as a business owner is like you're investing in the growth of your business. I didn't even know what my business was at that time, right? I was less than 6 months. It was my first time owning a business. I didn't know anyone who owned businesses, let alone like online businesses and coaching and all this stuff. So I was just taking advice from people and like listening to people who seemed to be more successful than me versus like now, of course, now I have all these lessons learned. Like I know that the investments that I make, it needs to be like put through like a filter, right? And when you do work with a coach, it shouldn't just be like, okay, I want this coach to totally transform my business and give me all of the answers. That's not actually what coaching is. So I think that there have been times where people have invested in me. And I think like if I can think of like 2 people in the last 7 years, 7.5 almost, where we stopped/I had to fire someone. And these are coaching clients, not my agency. Agency would be a little different. Coaching side, there's 2 people that stand out in the last 7-ish years where maybe a third, there are a couple ones, but 2 bigger cases where one I had to fire because she was getting frustrated with things not working instantly. And at that point, I was trying to like give strategy to people. And then she just didn't want to do the strategy. But then she was also frustrated with me because I wasn't helping her grow her business. And it was definitely like she wanted me to take her by the hand, but also wanted to do things her own way. And I just said that like, hey, we're just not a match. And then she got really offended that I fired her. And that was one of the only people I think I had to block from all the things. Like it was just not a good situation. And then like I've had several others where I think like around that time in my business, so like 2019-ish. So like at the beginning of my business, I had people ghost me and just like not pay me. And it wasn't like I wasn't going to chase them for money because they just stopped coming to calls and realized that I was like deleted or blocked because again, I wasn't like giving them all of the answers to the test. We have to remember though, and I didn't know this at the time, right? Because I wanted to give answers and I still kind of like have that strategy brain. But even as I grow and I still do more coaching, that's not what coaching is. We have to remember what coaching is. Coaching is where you're on the sidelines and you're guiding people to the answers. You think of a basketball coach. The basketball coach is not going to go out there on the field for you and shoot the basket or on the court field. Sorry. I am a sports girly. What am I even talking about? The coach is not going to do the things for you. You have to go out and do that, right? The coach is going to guide you and put the play in place. And now you have to go and execute. And the execution is dependent on you. And if the strategy doesn't work, You can come back and you can tweak it. You know for next time. You have lessons learned. But the coach is not doing it for you. And for you to think that hiring a coach is going to give you all of the answers is incorrect. Coaching helps you find those answers on your own. It's a guide. Someone is a guide when they're a coach. Now, if you're hiring a consultant or a strategist or someone that does things for you, yes, they should have results that, hey, guess what? This strategy is going to work. We can expect these results, all of this stuff. So I kind of float between two ways, right? I'm a coach, but I'm also a strategist. So I have calls with clients where we are talking about mindset all day long, but the strategy is going to be the easy part. Now, there are some calls where I'm sharing my screen or I'm recording a video and sending it to a client. I'm like, this is strategy we need. And walking them through a strategy and walking them through like logistics of like a workflow or something like that. I like doing both. But if there's any like remotely coaching in a relationship, like again, that comes down to like what you need to do at the end of the day and how you do it and how you execute. And the coach is there to guide you. And when you then invest into something, that investment comes from knowing what is good for your business, where your hangups are, where the problems actually lie. And so when we aren't having results fast enough, we immediately think it's strategy. We immediately think it's like something is wrong with our business, but really it's sometimes us that needs the coaching. It's the mindset. It's the organization. Maybe it's just one thing. Maybe it's you need someone to execute for you on social media. You need someone to create content for you to make your life easier. You need help writing great posts. So you have to be more specific in your ask of like, and when you are more specific in your ask, the level of success that your investment gets returned to you is higher. So how do you have that discernment, right? So I guess I can share like what are some of the things that I do when I'm investing in someone. So for me, it's all about building relationships on both ends, right? So if I feel that I'm interested in working with someone, I will join their email list perhaps. I will look at their website. I will watch their stories. I want to get to know them. And I'll probably like even talk to them a little bit. I'm definitely not the person that needs a sales call to be convinced. I'm the person that I've invested thousands of dollars with people just simply in the DMs themselves, because I think that if I'm ready to invest into something and I know them full well, like we can have a really good conversation in the DMs. If it's easier and makes more sense, I'm okay with getting on a call. But a lot of times it's just like, hey, I have some questions and I'm not sure if like I need this addressed before I'm ready to like pay you essentially. So I've invested multiple thousands of dollars within the DMs, and after talking to people and coming to them like, hey, I'm interested in this program. Like, can you tell me more about it? And I will say, I think like all of the other programs and stuff that I've joined have all given me a lot of great advice, a lot of great lessons. I don't feel like I've ever had a bad investment. If I were to categorize anything that is bad, I would then go back to that one investment I did at the very beginning of my business. But everything else, I feel like has paid off in dividends multiple times. So I think like all of that has been very good for me. And again, it comes with discernment. I think I also have a very strong financial background where I'm not feeling like I'm careless with like, oh, I need to pay this money to get this return and I need to spend money to make money. Like I'm very like strategic and I like will invest money and put things on credit cards, but then like I'm getting that money back. And I think also too, as you grow in your business, it's not like, okay, I'm going to invest $5,000 in this coach and then I hope to sign 3 clients immediately to get that money back. It's again thinking in terms of what are you specifically hiring that coach for? For me, like, I recently just made an investment. It was $900 in someone that's going to help me with my back end operations. And we're doing an intensive. And for me, of course, like we can say, like she can market all day long that being more organized is going to get me more clients because that's true or make me more money. But that ROI is not instantaneous. It is the tangible result I'm going to get is a more organized back end, which in turn could lead me to signing more clients eventually. And So that's where I'm like focusing my investments now is like, where do I need the most help in my business? Is it mindset? Is it something? So like, that's one. Another thing is working with a fitness coach because I know in the long run, that's going to help me in my business and show up more. I have always had this kind of thing where I know that the healthier I am, the more capacity I can hold for people because I talk to people all day long. That helps with my mental health. That helps with my physical health. And physical health is all, intertwined with all of this. It makes me feel better about myself. Therefore, I can show up at my fullest for every single day that I'm working. So, like, truly, when you are making investments, it's like, are you making them out of impulse? And I think that a lot of times when people do complain when they haven't made their money back, I think a lot of times that has come from impulse investments of you are on your last leg, you're on your last like dollars, you're on your last whatever, and you're putting all your eggs in one basket to the success of this coach that they're apparently going to give you. I've also told people no in the past when they've really wanted to work with me or wanted to renew and they didn't have success. And I could kind of see that like they're struggling financially. They were even struggling to pay me. And they're pulling out money out of all of these different sources. And I had to say no to some people because of that, because I'm like, you can't, because they were presenting it as like, no, I know if I work with you, I know I'm going to make a bunch of money. I can't take that. I will never say yes to that. Now, do I know how people pay me all of the time? No, I don't. That's none of my business. But if someone is coming to me and saying, like, I do have money now, like I'm taking out of this or that, but also they were saying that after they are saying that they're struggling to pay their bills and they were also struggling to pay me in the past, I am not comfortable. If I have the information, I'm not comfortable saying yes. There used to be this old thing where people were like, take credit cards over the phone. Absolutely not. Never do that. And I don't even care how successful coaches are saying that you should do that. Absolutely never do that. Like, never do that. Now in the history of like recording phone calls and note takers and AI, please never do that. If a coach wants to take your credit card over the phone, never effing do that. Like, never do that. There are people that say, like, if you have payment plans, like, people aren't, like, invested. Absolutely not. That is false. Sometimes with cash flow and budgets, like, that's a real thing. Like, that's also stupid talk. Like, don't listen to that. I have payment plans all day long. And some of my clients, like, some of my most successful clients, like, are on a monthly, like, payment basis. Like, that's just, like, this is just so, like, ridiculous to say. Like, be realistic in, like, your finances, for sure. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm paying you monthly. It doesn't matter if I'm all in up front. Like, that's ridiculous. So I think, like, if I want to, like, sum all of this up about, like, making investments and how you can, like, have good lessons from it. So, like, if you have a bad investment that you've made and you're like, well, that person didn't turn out well, what are the lessons from it? Because sometimes too, when you're hiring contractors or you're hiring someone to take on a project for you and it didn't work out, where's the bottleneck? Did you onboard them properly? Did you offboard them properly? Were you clear with them? Are you still the bottleneck? Do you need better systems in place? Or do you need to look for something different? Or do you need to spend more money? And that's a big thing too, is because sometimes we want to be cheap and we want to hire someone to do the job for cheap, which I get it. I'm there too. But there are times where we have to look to our businesses to look at how our business is operating and be like, wait a minute, I actually need to hire for where I'm going versus where I am right now. I'm trying to think of like any other things I could say about like bad investments. Because again, I don't have very many bad investments. I've made some good ones. Another thing that I will say too, there was a time when I did invest into a coach and it was another mastermind. And again, I think I learned a lot from this person. So I don't think it was a bad investment, but the experience actually prevented me from renewing with her. So I did have success. I did sign some clients. I did learn quite a bit from her. However, it was very transactional, and that's fine. If that's how that person was and wanted to do that, that's fine. But I never felt that not that I mattered outside of the thing, right? Because in my mind, how I handle like current clients is I want to make sure that they're having a good experience outside of just like me giving them information, because that experience turns into referrals, word of mouth referrals, further success, further retention. And I don't think there was any kind of like offboarding procedure or anything for this person, and really like paying attention to what it is I actually needed. Because I think I would have renewed with her if I had a better experience, and I didn't. So I think that's also something to think about. If you have to like the experience too and like the person. But yeah, I think with any kind of like bad hire or bad investment that you have, like there has to be a lesson in there. And the lesson isn't like, well, don't trust these people or don't trust people that sell. It's like, that's incorrect. It's like, what's the lesson that you need to learn about yourself? Do you need more discernment? Do you need to be a better BS detector? Do you need to ask more questions and gain more confidence to ask questions? When you're hiring someone, do you need to get to know them a little bit more? Do you need to know specifically more about what you need help with so then you can be clear and articulate that to the person you're hiring? Do you need better systems in place? Are you still the bottleneck in a lot of areas in your business? Are you open to receiving feedback? That is another thing. If you want to enter into a coaching relationship and you don't want to be coached because like you have these like guard up and you don't want to be vulnerable, then chances are this is not going to be a good relationship either. The other thing is, if you are also not responsive to feedback as someone who's hiring a contractor to do a project for you, hopefully that person's going to give you feedback or, tell you what they need, and you need to be open to receiving all of that feedback and information and be receiving of coaching. Sometimes that would be another thing is like, sometimes clients that have not had success with me is like because they show up and they're not open to like receiving any information. They just like want to hear what I have to say and tell them what to do, and they'll go do it. And that's not proper coaching, right? Like at the end of the day, you need to know what you need help with, and you need to have some sort of clarity. Like, okay, so maybe you do need help with clarity. Okay, cool. Like who can you hire for that? Okay, now I need help with signing clients, and I don't really know how to do that. And my specific problems are, I want to sign clients from social media, and how does everyone else do it? And how do I do it? Hire because of that. The thing about like, well, I just want to make more money, you have to be a little bit more, why aren't you making money, right? Like you be more specific on that. Why are you not making more money? Like what is the problem? Is it lead generation? Are you just not clear? Do you not know how to market yourself? All of those things. So like anytime you make an investment doesn't turn out the way you want it to, let's really focus on why that is and why that happened. And again, like we're in control of our own destiny, right? Like we have access to our own bank accounts. The person selling us on the phone is not stealing our information. We still have to give them the information, the bank account and everything to charge the money. So at the end of the day, you need to have that confidence to ask questions and discernment as well. So I hope this was helpful for you. And like, if you have investments that you look back on and you're like, oh, I regret that. I'm so dumb. I shouldn't have made that investment. It's like, let's like flip that script, because that's ruining your confidence into investing into more people. It's what did you learn about that? And then how are you going to improve? Because at the end of the day, we need to pay people to help us with our growing businesses. It is physically impossible to get to a certain level and just be doing it by yourself, because you might even, and this might not even be business related, like you might even hire a cleaning crew for your house. So then you don't have to spend time cleaning your house. You can focus more hours on your business, or you hire a chef, or you hire a meal delivery service, or you hire a laundry service. Like those are other people that help you in the long run with your business. So like, how do you hire someone specifically to help you with growing your business, right? So anytime you're ready to hire someone, you think of in terms of how specific do you need to be and what do you need help with, and find that person who's going to match that and give you a plan before they hire you, right? Not a plan, not an exact plan, right? But just like a plan of action of like, okay, great. I understand your problem. Here's how I would work through that. And I do that all the time. That's what I do. That's how I sign clients. That's how I sign agency clients. I literally give them a plan of what I think would be great. And then no guarantees, but like, hey, I'm going to work really hard. And if you show up, equal partnership, like, then this is going to work and be beautiful as well. So my most successful clients who make 7 figures, over 7 figures, multiple 6 figures, those are people that are really open to receiving and really open to not only doing the work on their end and showing up day in and day out and being very consistent, they're also open to the coaching and receiving of what I have. And we are truly partners when we work together. So hopefully this is helpful. And I will be back later this week with another Business Chaser episode. So I hope to see you then. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Business Over Cocktails, where real stories and bold business moves come to life. If this episode lit something up in you, share it with a friend, tag me at Lauren Najar or the podcast page at Business Over Cocktails. Make sure to leave a quick review as well. It helps more than you know. Until next time, keep chasing what matters and building the business that feels like you. Cheers.